Welcome to FVHS Legacy Voices, the podcast where we celebrate the people who have shaped the history and spirit of Fuquay-Varina High School. Today we're joined by Jim Jones, a proud member of class of 1989. Since graduation, he has gone to Fuquay-Varina Fire Chief, continuing the legacy of excellence that began right here on our campus. We're excited to revisit school memories and hear how their journey has shaped both their life and our community. For listeners who may not know you yet, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey with Fuquay-Varina High School?
Yes, I was born and raised in Fuquay-Varina, actually Willow Springs, which is a little suburb now, totally different high school, but not back then. As you said, I graduated in 1989. I was involved with student government here, played several sports, and this has just always been home.
Now, moving on, what path did you take after graduation?
Sure. So, like I said, I graduated Fuquay High School in '89, and I spent the next 2 years commuting back and forth to NC State in the accounting program while I worked at Elliott's Pharmacy downtown when I was not in class. So, I joined the fire department in 1990 as a volunteer. At the same time, they opened our fire station too. We have 4 stations now, so this was our second station at the time. And I decided after my second year at state that counting was okay, but I really loved being a firefighter. So I left state and started my fire science program, associate's degree at Wilson Tech. And while I was doing that, I was hired as one of the first 5 paid employees of the fire department, and that was in '93. So I had to put my education on hold because at that time, there was no such thing as online education. So you either went or you didn't. So I had to put it on hold so I could start my job with the fire department, which is what I really wanted to do.
And how would you say your process with the volunteering went?
It was great. It was a great way for me to really see what firefighting was all about, and it helped me decide that that was the career path that I knew I wanted to take. So it was a great experience.
I'd love to hear that. What accomplishments are you most proud of?
This is gonna sound a little cheesy, but I'm proud of having a rewarding career doing what I love in the community I grew up in while raising a family with a girl I fell in love with in high school.
I'd love to hear it. How are you both now today?
Great. My wife, we ended up staying here. My wife went to Meredith College, graduated from Meredith College, and taught first and second grade. She retired last year, 30 years, bless her soul. But she retired. We had a one daughter, and she now lives, unfortunately, outside of Chicago. We're trying our best to get her back closer to home, but maybe one day. But life is good.
I'd love to hear that. Now, moving on, what is your favorite or funny memory from high school?
Mm, I, I have so many good and bad, or not so good, not bad, but not so good memories from high school. Um, from losing the state 2A football championship as to Lexington High School my freshman year, and I missed the last 3 or 4 ball games of my senior year in baseball because I had mono, which was devastating. We missed the playoffs. So a lot of memories, but my favorite and most memorable memory is the first time. I don't want to be cheesy again, but the first time I met my wife, my future wife, and fell in love with that smile. I'll never forget. It was a club meeting, and it was the first time I saw her, first time I saw that smile, and I'll never forget it.
I love to hear that. And we recently just had our last interviewer, John Addock. He was also he played football, and he was telling us about Lexington as well. Um, we heard it's a lot of rivalry.
Oh, definitely. And the funny thing, I talked with John as I was leaving, or as I was coming in, he was leaving. Um, John was the catcher on the varsity squad or the varsity baseball team. It was his senior year. It was my freshman year. So John actually helped train me and work with me and all that. So John and I had known each other since high school.
And was there a teacher or class or an activity that shaped you?
So I was blessed to have great teachers at Fuquay-Varina High School, and I didn't appreciate it as much back then as I look back and do now, but I did, and we were all blessed to have great teachers. They truly cared about us. They were interested in us. They took time with us, and you really can't put a price on that. But the one I did have one teacher, and I'll call her teacher because I never had a class with her, but Miss Shirley Simmons. So Miss Simmons, she taught U.S. history, and just the way my schedule worked out, I never had her as a teacher, but she was also the advisor of student council and Close Up Club. And I don't know if they still have Close Up Club, but Close Up Club was a an in-depth look at government, and it involved a week-long trip to Washington D.C. to see how the U.S. government worked and all that. And actually, that's where I met my wife. But she always supported and encouraged me when I needed it. She was the reason I got involved with student government out from freshman year through high school or through senior year. I was either a class officer or in student council, and she was the reason that I got involved. She persuaded both my wife and me to join the Close Up Club, and that's where like I said, that's where I met her, and it was maybe because Miss Simmons had some matchmaking going on. I'm not sure, but it all worked out. But I still am in contact with Miss Simmons today. She is in charge of the Fuquay Museum, and she's always trying to get me involved with the museum. So I see her all the time now. Great lady.
That's great to hear. And how has Fuquay-Varina High School and Fuquay changed or possibly stayed the same since your time here?
There's been a lot of changes since '89. There's there's more schools, in the area, so you don't get the school loyalty around the community that we had. So now you could find somebody in Fuquay and they could go to one of four different high schools. Back then, if you lived in this area, you went to the same high school, and it was a loyalty thing back then. The school and the classes are so much bigger now. The buildings are amazing. It was heartbreaking on a certain level to see the school come down, but it's amazing to see what they put back here when they rebuild it. So I'm excited, and I know everybody that goes here is excited about it. But I don't know what the class sizes are here anymore, but I know when we graduated, it was like 175 in our graduating class. And I know when my daughter graduated from Holly Springs in 2016, there was 500 or 600. So I can't imagine what this class size here, but we knew everybody in my senior class knew everybody. We either knew our families or we grew up together in elementary school. And my guess is that it's not the same way anymore. It's probably difficult to know 600 or 700 people intimately in your graduating class. But there's been a lot of changes, see a lot of changes, but for the good. But sometimes you miss some of the old times.
I definitely understand that. My last school I went to, graduating class of 60 kids, so definitely
Oh wow,
and then
it is a big difference.
yeah. So now we're moving on. How are you involved in your community besides working in the fire department?
So working in the fire department gives me a lot of opportunities to work with multiple community groups each year, and I enjoy it. But giving presentations to local civic groups about the department. Our department is involved with a lot of fundraisers across the community, the food pantry, the Build a Bed program that we do, toy and clothes drives, working with the downtown association. I get an opportunity to work with a lot of different civic groups, nonprofits, and all that. So, I love working with all of them. It has provided me an opportunity to meet a lot of people, get to know a lot of people, and I enjoy it. But um, I'm getting closer to retirement, so after retirement, I want to stay involved, but I'll probably concentrate on one or two of them that I'll spend most of my time with. But I have enjoyed being able to be involved with the community in a way that allows me to meet and help and know a lot of people.
And what inspired you to get involved in the community?
this place is home. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Our town is constantly evolving. There's more construction, more people, and definitely more traffic. I wanna I've always wanted to help people, and I wanna help people remember what Fuquay-Varina was like and where we came from. And then I also wanna help the new people that come into town, that move in. I want them to know about our history, about how we got to where we are today. And that that kind of drives me to get involved in the community. I love Fuquay-Varina, and I am so glad and proud that I didn't leave, and that my wife and I raised our daughter here at home.
All day and last but not least, how do you see the values or lessons you've learned at Fuquay-Varina High School reflected in your own community and civic leadership today?
So I learned in high school that you have to appreciate what God has given you, and you need to use those gifts to help people and appreciate the time that you had because it is short, and never forget where you came from. I've tried to apply those life lessons in everything I do, from my schooling to my career and now leading the fire department. When we get new recruits that come into the fire department, we make sure they understand how important it is to be nice, be involved, and just help people. We also make sure they're taught the history of our department and town so they appreciate the opportunity they've been given to serve this community. That one of the things, we take them on a 2 to 3 week orientation when they come in to the department. And one of the first days, I go through like a 2 hour presentation on the history of the department and the town and all that, because I think it's important that they know the history of the organization and the history of the town. I think it means a lot.
Right. It definitely does. I'm glad that you take the time out to do that. And closing out, if you could walk the halls of Fuquay-Varina High School now, what advice would you want to give to the teachers and the students here?
Um, so if I could walk the halls again, to the teachers, I would say this, and I have to be very careful because I spent 30 plus years with a teacher in my house. So, but I would say when you can, don't just let this be a job. I tell our firefighters on a weekly basis that you got to love what you do. Don't just let it be a paycheck. Enjoy it, experience it. I'd also say, when you can, invest in the community. Maybe when there's time and your family allows, spend a Saturday morning at the chili cook-off here in town, or come to the Christmas parade. Just be involved in the community. And when you can, when family allows, go to an after-school event to support the students that you teach. Knowing a teacher is there, knowing your teacher is there supporting you at a game or band competition or a theatrical show means more to the student than anyone can imagine. And I just think it's important to do that. And for the students, I would say 4 years is not as long as you think. Enjoy it. Your teachers really do care about you, because I remember that time in your life, you don't think anyone cares about you. And high school performance, what you do in high school does not dictate the rest of your life. It is only one chapter, and you still get to write the rest of the book. And I think that's important for kids to understand this day and time, especially. And then the final thing I would say is, don't ever forget where home is. And I know parents, again, I remind mine that constantly. Don't forget where home is, and don't ever be afraid to come back home.
And last but not least, if you could describe our school in one word, what would it be and why?
So I thought about this one a lot. And I know this is going to seem like an odd word, but I said invaluable, because from my time, the high school was the heartbeat of the community. It was the place where families celebrated wins and comforted each other, after loss. And it was generational. So there were kids that their parents went here, and their grandparents went to school here. So it was a community, and you cannot put a dollar value on community pride and identity. So that I would say this school is invaluable to this community.
And last but not least, thank you, Jim Jones, for sharing your story with us. And thanks to our listeners for tuning in to FVHS Legacy Voices. Stay tuned for more alumni stories.